Look at that. Paying homage to the sun with his white ass. How about that? See how they put the sun behind Jesus' head and every white man to show their greatness as God? When we know this sun will burn his ass up and make him run in the house with swords oozing all over his ass. And then they had the nerve to say the lost gods, the Egyptians. So I guess that white man was the Egyptian. And then they give you two suns. But they play this one off like it's the moon. But we both know when the sun is at its zenith in the sky like that, you shouldn't see this. But they're showing you the truth. There is two suns. And this one happens to be the color of Planet X. See, they know what's going on. They all know.
Once this was a sea of waving grass. On that savannah, gazelle grazed, elephants wandered, men hunted.
And the reason they know that is because it was all written in the pyramid walls. They know years ago when Alexander and all the Ptolemy and all those people came into Egypt and destroyed it and took it over and started writing their Abraham lies and all that shit to make themselves usurp us original melanated people and sit in the seat and tell lies about us enslaving them and shit when they actually did that to us. And that's when this shit turned into a desert. When the sun decided, as long as your ass sit on the throne, I'm going to be burning your fucking ass up. And it burnt everything up. And wouldn't sustain them. Because they hate to pay homage to the woman. That's why everywhere they go, it's not sustained and it's destroyed. And people turn into cannibals. Because these bastards want to love themselves and overlook the female. And when you do things like that to screw your mind up, it make you have no respect. Once you start disrespecting the vagina that brought you here, you're not going to be able to respect anything else that has a vagina to bring it here. And this whole earth is comprised of everything that's available for us coming from a hole and returning to a hole. And these bastards are turning off all the holes all over the planet. And then they want to be the one who's sitting in life of explaining to the world how things work. With their lying asses.
7,000 years ago, the climate changed.
The climate changed because our white asses went into Egypt. Look. The climate, see the earth will talk to you. The climate changed because we went into Egypt and usurped all the people who land it naturally was and murdered them and enslaved them. And we thought we was going to sit here and live forever. But nope, the sun burned up all the vegetation and made life really miserable for us here. It sent locusts and every damn thing. And then later we told you about all that happening to someone else for enslaving us. But the real truth is all those plagues happened to us white people. Because we stole the land of the pharaohs from the pharaohs after they tried to educate us. That's how we get down. We're dirty like that.
Egypt today is largely desert. A moonscape blasted barren by the sun.
Told you.
But this wasteland contains a treasure other civilizations would come to covet.
See, he don't want to tell you that us white people came to steal. He want to say other civilizations. Well, outside of the black civilization, the only one was left was the white man.
In fertile green. Egypt is the gift of the Nile. When hunters and herders became farmers, they turned their thoughts to higher things, and the gods were born. For everything, because they believed the gods guaranteed Mayat, stability. When the country united under its king, he became the chief priest.
That's not
They
true.
would call him Pera, the great house, the pharaoh.
But they were not chief priests, they were gods.
He would guarantee the worship of the gods and the life-giving flood of the Nile.
The female. The water polarity is
But
the
what of the
female.
afterlife? The Egyptians believed each person had a soul that survived death, but the soul needed the body preserved so it could live in it and be nourished through it.
That's not true. That is not true.
This belief gave life.
That's not true. See, let me tell you, that's not what it was about. They did not preserve the body so the body could give life to the spirit. That's not what it was about. The spirit had already left the body, and they knew that. The mummification of the body was like a representation of the continuance of matter through a spiritual knowledge of how to give sustainment to what's even dead. It was a representation to show to the world that even though the true arrangement of God retaining this through sustainment through the goddess, our spiritual information can let this body remain intact forever because we get this knowledge from the sun. And so this is a way of proving that we too can alter death and change the original abiding circumstances of physics with the knowledge of our God Creator. We can be serious alchemists, where we can make this what should decompose and become decadence. We can stop decadence with supreme knowledge from the sunlight. Is what that was all about. And the fact that the body was preserved to last like that was to show everything great from God has immortality. And they proved that through the mummification of decaying flesh. Anytime you're so knowledgeable that you can stop dead flesh from decaying and taking a path of physics that is normality. But these God men had the spiritual knowledge that these white men is trying their best to get a hold to right now, but they can't. Because they're too ignorant to understand. For you to possess this type of knowledge, you got to have melanin.
To the art and architecture of Egypt that is still a wonder of the world today.
Look at this. Let me show you something about
but
this.
The soul needed the body preserved so it could live in it and be nourished through it. This belief gave life to the art and architecture of Egypt that is still a wonder of the world.
See, they always give you false information to mislead you about the greatness of us as a people. You know, whether we were mummifying those bodies or not, we always knew the greatness of immortality and the greatness of our omnipotent God and our omnipresent God. So what we were doing was showing that our God wisdom could be put inside of us as to where we can maintain our existence forever too. That's what that was all about. These two things right here used to have water around them. This used to be a flow of the Nile River. They built the Aswan Dam and cut the water flow off. Then they deliberately tried to destroy these things, do you see? Because of their jealousy and their envy of us black people being able to contribute this type of engineering technology to the world. So they wanted to destroy the faces so they could tell you guys that aliens built this shit, so they could cover up the fact that they enslaved us after we tried to educate them and turned our religious teachings into that bullshit Christianity where everybody is worshiping their white asses as God. But they can't show you any of this stuff. Even at Washington, D.C., where you see they have these two same statues that come up the staircase, you can see where they stole that whole shit from is right there. So fuck them. They're thieves and murderers. That's all to it. And that's why the sunlight is going to kill them. Because it just had it with their stagnation. They're dying right now. And it's constantly around the clock.
Today. Where will we find the first hint of the glory of it?
And as you can see, regeneration of Sar coming back. The more they get killed off the planet and disappear from the planet, the more the planet will regenerate itself. It's not going to regenerate itself so they can just come back and bulldoze everything over again to make sure that the black man keep dying. Because they can live in cities that don't regenerate, because they don't mind being cannibals. They eat any damn thing. snails, you name it. They don't mind. Meat, pork, eat it. Black man ain't never been that careless about what he put in his body. We picked those bad eating habits up when we got put into that freaking slave camps.
Ancient Egypt. Traditionally, the dead left the black fertile earth of the Nile for the red sand of the desert, and we must follow them.
See, listen, they never left Egypt to go here. They were in Egypt and here at the same time. The only people who give you this, we weren't here first and then we came here, is the white man. All the black people was all over this planet, knowing themselves as one family. So they trying to make the world be all new to their arrival. This earth would have been here millions upon millions of years by the time their deluded asses showed up and changed everything, fucked everything up. Saqqara is a monumental textbook of the art and architecture of the Old Kingdom and a picture gallery of its religious beliefs. But they were snobbering, even in death. These tombs were for the nobles. This is the remains of a mastaba, a mud brick construction. It marks a transition in Egyptian architecture from reeds, wood, and Nile lime to stone. But the mastabas did not preserve the body. Nobles like Irukapta organized statues of their relatives to accompany them on their journey to the afterlife. But money couldn't buy immortality. And then they found natron. Every day they washed their clothes with washing soda and cleaned their teeth with bread soda. When they put the two together, they had something that would dry and preserve the body. Egypt had cracked the code of eternal life. Mummification. See, this is what bothers me about them. They can sit there and tell you they've discovered the Egyptian way of mummification because the Egyptians accidentally discovered it. But why ain't they doing it? See, this is why our world is so destroyed, because we got them always trying to put themselves in the position of the know-it-all scientists. The Egyptians did not build all these structures and do all the great feats of electricity, science, mathematics, agriculture, engineering, all that stuff to accidentally discover a way to mummify bodies. The reason they started mummifying bodies is because the sunlight told them to do that. It was not some accidental discovery after they foolishly mixed two chemicals together. See, this is why we need them to stop educating us, because they don't do nothing but blow smoke up our ass to keep us all stupid as hell.
A combination of the salts in washing soda and bread soda, which made up natron, were applied to the body to remove all moisture and so preserve the mummy of the pharaoh. But the mastaba was much...
See, the removal of moisture doesn't preserve anything. The removal of moisture means the drying out and the decay of it. The moisture is the bloodline. Once that is removed, you have nothing left to sustain life. Okay? The spiritual moisture that keeps these mummies alive is from spiritual knowledge of how the universe works. Okay? That's what's keeping the mummies alive. Rituals, incantations, proper chemical additives to the body, not removal. And the additives have nothing to do with no basic everyday chemicals that the average person accidentally discovered from their everyday functions to get through their existence. This is such brainwashed bullshit. Listen, see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the ground level that he's on is 7. The 7 consciousness, the 7 cosmic forces. It shows you the spiritual system that these people was working with was too advanced for them to accidentally discover the chemical.